How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the live stream and episode here on Let's Build Twitter. So I was kind of getting myself familiarized with what we worked on last episode. I don't remember exactly because it's been the weekend and everything, but I think I remember working on the search and getting all that working. So I was trying to log in and we actually have a bug. So if we come back into our application, if I just go ahead and go and sign in, and I can sign in with unknown coder, next, and then our password, and then log in. We log in just fine, but if we open up the console and try to search for like Rick, you're gonna see we get a 401, and that is because we're actually using our JWT wrong. So I was unaware of this, because it's been a long time since I actually used that JWT token that's stored in memory. If we actually go into our application, I believe, so it still shows it, but it's actually empty. It's kind of weird. So basically what's going on is whenever we actually call this, it's more or less resetting the token. And that's why we have that big use effect inside of our homepage. So if we actually go into homepage really quick, if I can find it. So home.tsx, we have this big use effect that's setting the token. So we need to avoid using this. So actually we can get rid of this. And if we actually bring in, and this is going to be a little bit weird, but we're going to bring in const. Let me actually go back and we're going to actually get rid of this. It might just be token. So we might just need the state. So let's import, and we're going to import our root state. And I don't think we need, I don't know why it keeps adding an extra thing there. And we also need to import our it's not use context, use selector. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put it above our state. Import, I'm just gonna call this token equal to, and this is gonna be use selector. And we're gonna have state colon root state. And we're gonna pass in the state dot, I'm pretty sure this is user dot and then token. Now this should be set up. Now what is use selector's problem? Again, I don't know why it keeps adding an extra. Use selector and error. Let's see. Whoops, this should be const. Const token is equal to use selector. Token is declared but never used. That's fine. They're gonna pass token in here. I don't know why it was working yesterday. Maybe I copy pasted it, or not yesterday but the other day. I don't know why it was working. Now it should be set, because now if we actually refresh this, I'm pretty sure it's gonna log us out. Actually it didn't, so I don't know what's going on with this, but let's try to search for Rick, and sometimes it clears it, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. If we search for Rick, there we go. Now they all search up. It's gonna be mad at us about the unique key, but that's fine. So now we can continue working. So whenever we search for a user, we need to basically have, and actually this looks different. I think Twitter changed since the last time we even worked on it, because it looks like now there's like a search icon at the top as well. So we come in here to discovery search bar. We have our search content. We have a close icon, although we want the discovery drop down, I think, actually. So there's a search content, it says search for, and then try something, search content, and we have go to. So it looks like we have another one now, and Twitter might have literally just changed. So class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down dash. So this is like search content box or something. This is not a great name for this. And thank you for not closing that and almost making my life difficult. So here we need a hourglass. Let's go to material UI really quick. Actually, if I think about it, I think if we go to our search, yeah, we want this search icon right here. So let's go ahead and grab this search icon, and then let me go ahead and come back into here and import search icon. Okay, and now we're gonna have a search icon, and we will need some sort of, I don't know, we'll need some sort of SX on that. And I'm guessing if you click on this, it's gonna take us to the search, but we're not going to deal with that right now. We also have a recent searches that we'll have to maybe think about as well. And then it looks like if you like search for like something more general, it has multiple options, like it completes it, but I don't think we're going to deal with that. That's a little bit more advanced. Basically it's going to p tag with a class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop dash down dash search content box text, maybe. Again, I'm terrible at naming things. And then here we're gonna have the content. I'm assuming it's called content. Oh, it's called search content. So now if we take a peek at this, we come in here and I have Twitter open on the side. So now it says, although you know what, actually what Twitter did is instead of having, so Twitter, instead of it saying search for so-and-so, now it's just a search icon, which I don't know why Twitter always changes this stuff. So now instead of saying search for, it's actually, this is going to be a p tag, or it's going to have a div now, div class name equal to, I don't know why Twitter always makes changes, discovery, search, drop down, content, wrapper maybe, and then make the div, close off the div. What in the world was even that? I don't know. So close off that div and then copy this paragraph in there, and let's also clean this up a little bit. And so this will technically have an on click on it that we'll do later. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw an on click equal to, and this is just to remind us that it goes navigates, navigate to the search page and do the search is basically what this does. And then so now instead of saying search for content, it doesn't have these anymore and it just has the content. And then above this we're gonna have oh, I forgot, I didn't copy that search icon. We're gonna have the search icon. So small change, but it's not too bad. So now if we come back into our application, you can see this obviously needs styled, but it should be pretty simple. So let's go ahead and start working on the styling and whatnot and kind of see what we get to. We obviously want to be able to eventually click on one of these people and go to their profile. So that means we'll probably need to start setting up profiles and stuff like that. Make sure that if we're not on the current person logged in, you know, we don't show stuff. But let's go ahead and start styling this. So let's go ahead and come back into our code and inside of our CSS, wherever we have it. Okay, so we already have a drop down that has the width and a fit content. That's completely fine. So now we want this discovery drop down search for. So let's go ahead and grab this. So this one has a specific size. It also has a margin on the bottom. So let's go ahead and do this. And then in here, the size is going to be about 64 tall. So width we like 100%. Height will be like 64 px, and then we will probably have a border bottom, and hopefully I don't have a, oh, I do have a padding on this. So I'm gonna get rid of the padding here because if I have a padding there, it's gonna scuff some things. So we'll need to remember to put the padding back in other places. But border bottom 1 px solid, and we're gonna go with the light gray, but I always forget what it is, so we're gonna go ahead and grab this. I should have put this in a root, so that's one thing I should have done a long time ago, and maybe one day I'll go back and refactor it and make it do that. So we have the border bottom, and then we probably want display of flex. We want a flex direction row. We want justify content flex start. Excuse me, want to align items in the center. And that should kind of pull things together. And then we might also need to do a couple other things. So that didn't do anything. So let me double check. That's what I was looking for. It is. The only issue is that we have yet another wrapper. So we need to deal with this wrapper now, which is basically the same thing. The other thing that we might want to do is, well, I guess we can put the padding on this one and that might work. So padding, it looks pretty thick, like 16 px, and we need to do the same thing again. So we need a display of flex. If I could type flex, that'd be cool. We need a display of flex. We need to justify content flex start, and we need to align items in the center. In this one, we can simply just say width 100%. Maybe width 100%. And we could also say height 100% because we already set the max height, or the height, I shouldn't say max height, we already set the height to 64px, so it should bound it. So yeah, so now that looks pretty good. Now obviously we need to set the text and stuff. We need some space in there. I think that I think these profile pictures are just too big. That's why it's sticking out. So we need some space in there. That's going to be easy to fix. We need to make that hourglass a little bit bigger. We might need a little bit more padding. I'm thinking maybe let's try 24 pixels padding, and we can also add 24 pixels elsewhere. And I'm a little bit concerned about this being too much at the top, but I don't know. I think that looks pretty good. Cool. So let's go ahead and grab this guy. So SX equal to, and I think I'm going to keep the colors black because I don't have it on dark mode. I wonder if we say height of, we don't have to put this, we can just do this, right? Height 20px and width 20px. Let's try like 30 by 30 then, because it definitely needs to be bigger. That's the thing. If we try it 30 by 30, that almost looks good. I think I'm going to keep that. And now we need to do the discovery drop down content. So this one's pretty thin, and I think I'm just going to keep this one maybe dark gray or black. I'm not 100% sure. Probably dark gray. But here, width will just fit content. Height will fit content. Now I don't know what'll happen if we go too long. Probably won't deal with that, honestly. Press say YOLO. And then I want a margin on the left side of 24px. We want a font size of 15px, and we want a color. It needs to be like dark gray probably. So let's grab dark gray. So this one, and then we'll paste that in. And I think we'll also say font weight is 400 just to make sure it's skinny. We need to add a hover effect on the content wrapper, and this is going to have a border dash top left radius of 8px. It's going to have a border of top right radius of 8px. It's going to have a border of none, and it's also going to have a cursor, a pointer, and it's going to have a background color. We need to convert the light gray to RGB, which I have, so it's going to be this. We're going to have an A, and we're going to make this like 0.3 and save that. We forgot the hover, so let's go ahead and add hover on it and save that. So now whenever you hover over it, it looks good. And then now we need to deal with this. We can change this height to be fit content. So we could say fit content instead. And then our content wrapper can be 64px. So this is how big we expect this to be. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this into another div just to make our lives a little bit easier. So div class name equal to discovery dash search drop down empty wrapper, and we're gonna actually put the CSS for sizing and everything on that, and we'll just put like a font size and font color and font weight on the actual text. So discovery search, drop down wrapper. Let's go ahead and throw this in here. So here we can have height 100%, width 100%, right? And we might not need display flex. Let's just go ahead and put like font weight and stuff like that on here. So font size is probably going to be 15px again. Font weight is 100%, like 400. And then color will be the dark gray, which should be this one. So let's paste that in. So let's just see if this kind of does what we expect, and then we can maybe add padding and stuff. So it doesn't quite center it, so we are going to add centering, and then we might also want some padding. But if we also add this like padding 24px, it might just do what we want. We don't want it on this, we actually want it on here, and this might actually center it to the point that we want, or you could margin, or we could center it. But yeah, that's too high, that's too much on the top, but the left and right don't look bad, which makes me curious. What if we do go ahead and put display flex on this really quick? Display flex, justify content will be flex start, and align items. So we actually want justify content center, I think. And we want align items. We want flex start on this one, I believe, because of the way that this is. Yeah, so it looks kind of like that. We do want some padding on the top of this though. So padding top would be like 8 pixels. It's very slight. It's not anything crazy. I like that. I think that's more or less kind of what it looks like. It's kind of weird that it's not centered and it looks like that, but what can you do? So now I think we move on to this part. So we have this like profile picture and some other information. So what we're going to go ahead and do is let's go ahead and start just styling this guy up, and then we can style up the rest of the box and stuff. It should like kind of fall in line after that. So now we have the search result, and that's what this guy was. This one, we're going to copy the drop down search result, and we'll go ahead and do this. So this one will have a height of 67 px, kind of weird. Width will be 100%. So we want to display flex this. We want to justify content in the flex start. We want to align items in the center. We can also add some padding on, we can say padding all sides like 8 pixels, and that's probably fine. Now the biggest issue here is we need to get this image fixed up because it's way too big. So here, whoops, went the wrong way. Grab the image. So width will be 40 px. Height will be 40 px. We want object dash fit, which is going to be cover. And then what else do we want here? We want border radius. Border radius 100%. And let's make sure we have no border. So border none. And then on this, we're also going to go ahead and put cursor pointer. And I think these might also have highlight hover effects on them. I'll do the hover effect on the drop down because we can do a little bit of magic on it. So this should start looking a little bit better. So imports dot slash discovery search drop down result.css. That should fix that issue. So now if we come back in here, there we go. So it's already looking a lot better, and we might be able to get away with more space on the side, maybe like 12 pixels. So 0, 12 px. From here, what we want to go ahead and do is let's go ahead and deal with this div. So discovery, yada, yada, yada. So let's go ahead and paste this guy in. Maybe we say width. So let's go 320 just to give ourselves some space. Pixels and height 100%. And actually we might go like 300. And we can actually go, instead of flex start, we can justify content space between maybe. Let's go 280. So I'm going to go ahead and say overflow hidden on all of these. And I think there's a text overflow. We will go ahead and say ellipsis, just I guess for the heck of it. And then let's go ahead and grab the rest of these. So now we have another div with nickname section, and nickname section has a bunch of stuff. So let's copy this and we'll go ahead and paste this. So width on this one will basically fit content. It'll get cut off if it's too wide. And then we'll have height as fit content. It's not going to be that wide. We need display flex. And here we'll go ahead and justify content space evenly, nothing crazy, and align items in the center. I don't think we need anything else here. And we're not going to see too much going on just because of the fact that we don't have people verified right now. So you're not going to see really these verified stuff all that much right now. You're just going to see nickname, which the nickname we need to have no margin. It's messing with some stuff. So let's do this. Margin 0, padding, whoops, not passing, padding 0, and then we'll also bump the font size down probably. But now you can kind of see there's a difference there, and there's still some margin on the top of this. So let's kind of mess with stuff. So on this one, it's still going to be 15 px. So font size will be 15 px. And I'm wondering if this one we should keep black. So we might keep this one black. And then font weight will be, I'm gonna try 800. It might be too thick. It's kind of thicker and it stands out. So I like that. Now we need to fix up the other part. So we need to fix up the discovery search username. And this one will basically probably just want to do this. So, whoops, not there. So here, let's go ahead and add margin 0. Oh my goodness, my keyboard. Adding 0. And then font size looks like it's a little bit smaller, but it's not. It's just thinner, 15px. And font weight will be 400. And now it should kind of come together. So now this is really tall up here. So we need to think about what's going on with that. It's got to be the name section. So let's go ahead and add a display flex on this as well. And justify content in the center. And this one align items in the center. Although you might not want to center it. You might want to change it up a little bit. Yeah, so we need also to say flex direction is going to be column on this, and then I think this is going to center it. I guess that to be center and this to be flex start. I might be backwards here. There. So that looks good. We probably do want a little bit extra space between those. So our options are either to add more padding, or we could bump this down a little bit to like 270, and that'll probably add some extra space. So yeah, like that. And there we go. So that's kind of how that looks. So now we do want a bit of a hover effect on these. So that will be easy enough. And if we actually click on this, it'll go to the user's profile. So that's obviously what we want to work on. So let's go back in here. And I think that's everything inside the result thing itself. We have everything styled. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this and close this. And now inside of our dropdown.css, we need to work on, so I think we already did results. Maybe we didn't do results. Let's grab results. Okay, we haven't actually done results. So this will just be fit content. Height is fit content. Width will just be 100%. And I don't think we need anything else on this. I think this is going to basically do it. So looks the same, nothing crazy. Everything's fine there. Now we do want to, this one again, I don't think we really need, because we're not really doing anything with it. So we probably could have gotten away without using either of those. So I guess what we could do is this. So I'm pretty sure inside of this guy that is discovery search drop down result, if we go into there one last time, I know we just closed it. I'm pretty sure we just say height 100%. Actually, we say height 67. So let's do this. Let's take this 67. I want to add a div here. And realistically, we probably don't even need this class. In all honesty, this could just be a fragment that does nothing. Div class name equal to, and here we'll go ahead and say discovery dash search dash drop down result wrapper. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I'm going to set the height to what I want here. And then what we'll do is set up the hover effect inside of here. So here we'll copy this, and then we're going to go ahead and come back into our drop down and do this. So the width will just be 100%. And then the height, whoops, the height will be 67 pixels. So we're going to go ahead and say display flex. We'll justify content flex start, whoops, flex start, and align items in the center. Now you're not going to see much difference right now, or at least you shouldn't see much difference. So it looks the exact same. Now what's going to be different here is now inside of our result. So inside the result itself, now let's go ahead and say that the height is like 80% instead of that pixel. And then what we can go ahead and do is say dot discover drop down results. So let's copy this and paste it, colon hover. And then we can go ahead and have a cursor, a pointer. And then what we can go ahead and do is after cursor pointer, we can have our background color. And this is going to be that same background color over here. So let's grab this RGB. Let's copy this and paste it in there. And whoops, I went too far. So let's get rid of the background color. So now, fingers crossed here, this should go ahead and kind of do the same effect that Twitter has. Now that's way too big, so this should be more like, so let's go like 90%, and we'll see what this looks like, and then we'll kind of go from there. So 90%, that looks good. So it doesn't do the whole thing. That's what Twitter does. What can you do? It's kind of weird. It is what it is. So there's that. Now the last thing is this go to Rick, and again this one also has a hover effect and a couple other things. So let's go ahead and come back down here. Let's go ahead and grab this go to and copy it and come in here, and let's deal with this. So dot this. So again, width will just be 100% as always. Height is going to be 52px, and then we'll go ahead and say display flex, so we can easily go ahead and center this display flex. Once again, we're going to go ahead and have our justified content flex start. We'll have our align items in the center, and then we'll have a padding of like 8px. And we're going to say 0 12px. I really just want it on the left and right. Yeah, we might go with that. I think that might be okay. I don't want to mess with it too much. We might bump it to like 16. Again, I don't want to mess with it too much. So now we'll go ahead and grab discovery, search, drop down, go to. So do this. Okay, and actually let's go ahead and do the hover effect on this guy. So copy this, paste this, and let's go ahead and say colon hover. Now this one is going to be like border dash bottom left radius is 8px, and border bottom right radius is 8px. And then what else do we need? We obviously want a cursor pointer, and we're also going to want a background color of this RGBA. So let's scroll up. We're going to steal this RGBA again. Let's yoink that. And here we just had border none cursor pointer. So we might also want to throw border none on there just to be safe. So border none. And let's make sure the hover effect works. So we come in here. Looks bang on to me. Looks pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead and show up to like 8 or 9 on this. So if this was like more realistic and had a whole bunch of people, it would show like 8 of them. So it is what it is, but cool. That looks good. So now we need the go-to text, which is once again 15px. So font size 15px, font weight it's going to be 400, and then color will be our dark gray. So let's just grab dark gray. So I think that all looks good. And if we come back in here, go to Rick. So if we click on this, we want to go to @Rick if it exists. I guess if it doesn't exist, I don't know what's going to happen. And then if we go to any of these people, we want this to go to their profile page, and we click on this, we want to go to the search page. So right now, I don't care to go to the search page. I want to be able to click on someone's profile and it goes to their profile, and we can click on follow. And that's the biggest thing. We need to be able to follow people to actually be able to basically see their posts, to do the feed page. So something that we probably want to go ahead and do is set up kind of like a template page, right? And then we can kind of switch content out inside the layout. The middle is what's different between all of this. So whenever we click on Rick Sanchez, the first thing we need to do is we need to make it so that it ignores that. So where's our on click at? We don't actually have an on click. So we need to add an on click. So if we have the username, we can basically take off the @ symbol and navigate to a specific place. Maybe we go ahead and add it on here. So on click is equal to, and we'll say navigate to profile, to user profile. Okay. And then inside of here, we'll go ahead and say const navigate to user profile. Whoops. Is equal to e react dot mouse event on this is a div element, HTML div element. And let's do this. And then we're going to go ahead and say e.stop propagation. And fingers crossed this works. And then we can just do that. I want to set up our layout page, and it's going to take some refactoring here, so we might not get as far as we had hoped tonight. So let's just make sure that the stop propagation is working. So if we come in here, go to rake, we click on this. Okay, it's gonna be pain in the backside. So it's closing it because we're not focused. So I think we only want to toggle drop down if the content is empty. So on blur, we'll say if not search content, or whatever we call this, if not search content, then we want to toggle drop down to false. Otherwise, we want to keep the drop down open. If we clear and click off of it or whatever, that's fine. And then we can also toggle the drop down. So let's also go ahead and go into a discovery. And in here, I'm also going to throw in toggle drop down. And we can add this as well. So toggle drop down equal to update show drop down. I want to keep this open unless we like clear everything out. We click off of it, or if we like clear or whatever. We might have some weird stuff going on with the search bar with this, but it is what it is. So if we go into our discovery drop down, let's go ahead and say interface, and then we'll say discovery drop down props equal to, actually don't want equal to, and I called this toggle drop down. So toggle drop down, and this, I think it takes in a Boolean. So this will take in a value, Boolean, like a type, and it'll return a void. Can't type though. Cool, and then let's go ahead and pass in those props. So discovery context, whoops, that's not what we wanted. Discovery drop down props, and then let's go ahead and break apart toggle drop down. And basically what will happen is if we navigate, then we can go ahead and toggle drop down, I guess. So let's go ahead and toggle drop down whenever we do this, and then false, which kind of makes it hard to know whether or not it's actually working. If we click on this and we click off, now you can see it stays there, because even though we technically unfocused, it's still there. Now if we click this, and that should have worked. Oh, it worked after a second. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if I want to put too much time into that. So maybe if search content, theoretically, not search content should have worked there, but you never know. So we type in here, click off. Okay, it seems to be working. We say like Rick, it shouldn't be empty. Shouldn't be empty, so it's fine. Now we're gonna have to work through a couple things. So like you might like, so like that is supposed to be covered. On top of this, we also need to deal with the recent, but at the current time, I'm not dealing with that. So let's, I guess, take a look at like layout page. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna come back into our code, and inside of our pages, let's go ahead and make a new file. I'm gonna call this layout page.tsx. And I don't know if we actually need CSS on this. We might, we'll see. Import, and I don't know if we need use selector. I will go ahead and grab outlet for sure from react router dom, and I think there's another one called like use, I don't remember what this is called. It's not href. It might be use location. That might also be helpful. Let's go ahead and export. And I forget how we're making these pages. Are we doing these export default? Let's see. So, no, we're just export const. Okay, so export const, and this will be called layout page, which is a react.fc. And then equal to, we'll just do an arrow function like so, return. And we're going to go ahead and return a div with a class name equal to layout page. I don't know. Whoops. I don't know if we need this we'll see. I don't know how our other pages are set up. I don't remember. We can move some things around here and we might do some refactoring later on. I'm not going to go crazy, but basically what we want is we want what's inside of our homepage. So we want the navigation on the left. We want the middle section, which can be dependent on what is actually being showed, and then we want discovery. So let's go ahead and copy this, since this is basically on every page, and there might be some outlier pages so I have to deal with, so that'll be fun, I guess. So inside of our Outlook, inside of this page, let's go ahead and grab this. Let's go ahead and import navigation from components. Let's go ahead and grab, so this one is not going to be feed anymore. This is actually going to be called outlet. Okay, and then discovery we'll keep, and we'll also go ahead and probably set up a couple things. So what I'm thinking was go into home.css. So home just has this. So let's go ahead and grab this and copy it. And now we're gonna make a new CSS called layoutpage.css. So new file, layout page.css, and there's going to be some stuff that we had to deal with that's going to get a little bit funky and I'm a little bit scared of. So this will be layout page, this will be layout navigation section, this will be layout content section, and then layout info section. So now I'm going to paste this in here. So now this will be layout page, and actually we can just call it layout because we just called the other one home. So copy this, this will just be called layout. Change this back to layout dash page, and we're going to say div class name equal to layout. And this is a little bit weird, but bear with me here. I'm just trying to get this to work, and then if we can get it to work, we're going to move forward. So now we have this guy dot layout will be this. Then we have layout navigation section, layout content section, and layout info section. This is kind of like our basic layout page, and this outlet is going to allow us to inject any data that we want. And this is where things are going to get kind of crazy. Technically, we probably won't even actually end up using home anymore. We'll probably just inject the feed into that section, which is really crazy. And we can also kind of keep track of like discover and a couple other things. So now we have to set this up in a specific way, like inside of our app.tsx with our routes. So inside of our app.tsx, so we're going to do this goes to landing, and then we're going to have our new route. So this is going to break a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to wrap this here so we can always go back at any point. So we're gonna have a route with a path equal to slash. The element is going to be layout page. So we're gonna say element equal to, and then it's gonna be layout page. All right, and what I'm concerned about is this, because this really needs to go to like slash. So this one says that the paths match by default. So we can just do this. So now basically what we want to do is if we go to route path equal to, so we do want the slash there. We want this there, I think. And then this will be slash home. And if we go to home, we want element equal to our feed element. So grab feed, which is what was inside of our homepage, and we also need to make sure we close that out. So if we go to our old homepage, we had feed there, and that was kind of like the feed content. Now what sucks about this is that for any of this stuff to work, we're gonna have to basically refactor and bring in all of this stuff, but I'm gonna see how broken it is. This should be dash layout page. Right, layout page, and then layout. Let's make sure we actually imported .css. So import /layout page.css, and this is gonna work until we find something that doesn't actually use this layout anymore, and then it's gonna scuff everything. But it is what it is. So now that's good, and I just realized Twitter doesn't even have that home anymore, so we could probably just get rid of that. So we go into our feed, and I'm guessing it's in feed top bar, so let's go into feed top bar, and it's probably just says home. So we get rid of this. There we go. That's how Twitter acts now. Now here's the thing. Inside of our layout page, assuming this is where we want it, if we go back to homepage, so like edit modal, feed post, creator, image, all of this stuff, it pops up inside of the homepage. So what we could do is we could go in back inside of our feed. We could throw that all in here. The only issue, I guess, is if you click outside of that. So maybe we do want to keep this inside the outlet until further notice or the layout page. We'll go ahead and grab basically all of this. So go ahead and copy this and then go to layout page and come in here. Was this our imports? No, it wasn't. Okay, so now we need to do some importing. So let's go ahead and import useSelector and import our root states. Okay, so that fixed that. Let's go ahead and add this guy and our useDispatch. Go ahead and grab useNavigate, and things should start working more normally after we get this done. Import this. Import this guy and set token. Okay, go ahead and import this guy. That imports all that, and that's going to give us the functionality of the old homepage, right? And let's see. And if we wanted to, we could basically keep the homepage probably. So yeah, let's do this. We'll keep this on the layout page, but I'm thinking what we do is keep this inside the homepage. So I think we get rid of this guy. We get rid of useNavigate and the dispatch. We'll keep the dispatch. We don't need to navigate though. And we do not need the states. So let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. And we'll keep this stuff. And then below this, we'll just have the feed. So this will be our homepage. So now home dot this. So I'm guessing if we go into our home.css, now we can clean this out. So here, we can probably just keep this as is. We might not need, honestly, it probably won't hurt to have that. Now, how bad do we have this broken right now? So it is still acting the same. So that's good. We still dispatch set token, but we do not need this guy. And we do not need half of this. Whoops, let's grab all of that. That's gonna complain because we're not watching the whole thing. That's fine, I don't care. We don't need this update. Layout, use location. I'm gonna go ahead and say once location equal to use location, and we are going to use this. I don't know if inside navigation, so we go into navigation. So right now we want to be able to basically highlight the active link. So we want navigation active here. What we're going to do, have a prop here. So interface, and this will be navigation props, and this will have a current page, I guess, equal to, and then it's going to, this will be a string, not equal to, but we set to a string. We're gonna go ahead and pass this into navigation props, and if we want to add more, we can add more, and then current page. So what we can do is we can go ahead and add a use effect. So use effect, like so, and we're going to watch that current page. And then what we need to do is we basically need to set which one of these is active, and if none of them really pop up as active, then it is what it is. This should take us to /home. I don't know why that didn't pop up. I don't know why I didn't have that /home. So this is kind of ugly, but what we could do here is we could make backticks. So this is really ugly, right? And this ought to be like this. So what we can say is we'll have a $sign curly brace here. And what we'll say is current page equal to home, question mark. If it is, we'll return this. Otherwise, we'll return nothing. And we can do that for a bunch of other ones, right? So now inside of our landing page, inside navigation, we can go ahead and say current page is equal to, and then we can say our location dot I don't know if it's path name or search. I'm gonna try path name and we'll see if it shows like it's active or not. So I think that shows active. So I think that's working. So if we go to like explore, so let's see if we go in here, and explore is one that we'll have to make. So we come back into navigation. So if we do the same thing here, this is again not the prettiest thing in the world, but it is. Oh, I guess we have a navigation inactive that we can set it. Cool. So basically we can grab this, grab the whole class name, put it in here. So now instead of home, this would be explore. And we don't have an explore right now, but what we could do really quick is go into our app.tsx, and let's go into our app.tsx, and what we can do is we can have a route with path equal to /explore. And for now, the element can just equal to one of these, and this can just say like explore, just to get this working. And if we actually go into our navigation and we need the link to /explore, like so. So we say /home and /explore. Oh, you know what? Facepalm. That's more like it. So now you can see that's active. Whoops, my bad. That looks a lot better. Cool. So there's that. This should be working. Now the only thing I'm curious about is the actual homepage. So home.tsx, or not home, landing.tsx, where it's supposed to kick you out if you try to go, if you have a JWT. Now I don't know if we have a JWT still in here. It looks like it. So we just go to /. So it does do a little bit weirdness there, and that's kind of expected, but this is fine. Everything seems to be working the way it's supposed to. So that was a pretty decent refactor. I don't think we're gonna dive in anything else. I think I'm gonna leave it here, make a little bit shorter stream. I haven't been getting much sleep lately, so I think I want to go ahead and catch up on my Z's. Unfortunately, a little bit shorter stream, a little bit shorter episode in general, but we got a lot of good work done. We got some refactoring done. I could go through here and clean some stuff up as well. But yeah, now we can basically use a layout page. I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode though. Next episode, we're going to hit it hard on getting the profile page set up so we can follow people. And by what I mean by hitting it hard, we're basically just going to make sure that we can, at the very least, hit follow. Whenever we follow someone, we can go ahead and start loading their content onto our screen or onto our feed, which also means we need to load in some posts and stuff like that. I also need to do some research to figure out why the heck my Docker's not recreating my DB each time. So it should be persisting, but it's not. So it should be a volume that persists locally. So I'm gonna take a look at that as well. But I think that's gonna be it. Thank you all once again for watching. Hope you guys understand a little bit shorter video. Next week we'll go ahead and hit it hard. So again, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, and I'll see you later.